What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Socials Lifestyle Podcast. My name is Rob.
I'm Gabe.
And we are advocates of the cannabis community, promoting education and information to users and non-users alike. Normalization comes from conversation, so join us Wednesdays at 4:20 on Apple Podcasts, Anchor, and Spotify. Make sure to check out the videos of each podcast on the following Friday at 4:20 on YouTube and the WeedTube. If you haven't liked us on Instagram, check us out there too at Socials Lifestyle.
Check us out. We're almost up to the 1K giveaway. We said on our bio, I think a couple months back, we just put 1K giveaway, and we're about 48 followers away from that. So looking forward to that. That's something we're going to be good, and we're going to be inputting our shirt in that as well, whatever size, whoever the winner is. And we're also getting other brands to put content and also product in there as well. So it's going to be something to look forward to, but I'm excited. We got Robert back. I mean, we haven't had you since season 1, but
yeah, it's good to be back.
Exactly. Yeah, it's time to catch up with each other. What have you been up to, man? Since I think it's been April or
it's been a while.
May since you've been on.
Yeah, I've just been working a ton. If you guys don't know why I'm not really like going to a lot of seshs and that kind of stuff, is I have my own business. Doing some e-commerce, selling stuff, so it takes a lot of time and energy.
I bet, man.
So I'm focused on doing all of that, and then I try to get involved with the social stuff when I can, when I'm able to. But I've gone to some events now.
Yeah, you have. I was gonna say you've been actually like stepping up a lot and actually being present, and you're meeting people. I mean, what was the first one you went to? The photo sesh, right?
The one that we hosted.
Yeah,
that was a lot of fun. Maybe it was a little too mellow, just kind of trying to figure out, how everything goes and whatnot. But it was good to go out and actually like meet people that, I keep seeing on Instagram and interacting with on Instagram and whatnot. So to see people like and actually meet them was really cool.
Yeah, it's a good feeling, definitely, when you finally see them. I still get that feeling when I go to certain events and I see someone I follow and I'm like, hey, I follow you, like your content. And if I remember some like a recent story post or something, I'll bring that up just to sort of update them and see like, I actually follow you,
Yeah.
But that's awesome. And then I think the other one was the
one at Miss Smoke Shop.
Yeah, so that was awesome, man. We had a kind of a spontaneous sesh, the last minute one, where even Unbounded, Jonathan from Unbounded, and he's even been on the podcast too. He was there. He's been coming to a lot of events
He was our first guest on the podcast.
Yeah, that's right. Guest number 1 right there. The man. He's over there doing the producing and editing at Unbounded, but yeah, he was there too. We got some great content. It was just similar to the photo sesh, just an organic sesh, but we also were able to get some plans down. We wanted to configure when our next photo sesh was going to be, because we want to do this on a monthly basis. That's one of our goals on the upcoming season. But for right now, that's what you've been up to, been going to these events. I know we have a couple more coming up, so you'll be seeing Robert's face a lot more. That's going to be awesome.
I'm hoping. I'm actually going to go to China soon, though.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So I won't be here for like a month. Got to go put in the work, keep grinding and whatnot. But yeah, when I get back, I'm leaving September 5th, and I'll come back October 4th. So get back, say what's up to everybody, start going to more events and whatnot. Yeah, hopefully, awesome. The podcast keep going smoothly and whatnot.
But we got a lot of guests
holding it down.
Up.
So
we've been this season has been really well. I think that we get a lot of great content. Today we're going to be giving a legislation update, because we feel that since we've last talked about the legal actions that have been going on, we haven't really caught up since the whole summer. I haven't really done much of a legislation update yet, so this is sort of our way to catch up and see what's been going on and update what's going on with cannabis as far as pushing the legislation aspect. But yeah, man, it's so good to see you. I've also been busy as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's up with you? Anything new?
Oh yeah, so I've been going to a lot of events. I recently went to the High LBC. That was a tremendous event, man. I must say, it was the most packed I've ever seen it. There were so many big brands. I'm talking Rove, Moxie, Lowell, Papa and Barkley, Infuse, Tree Base Clear. I mean, the list goes on and on. There were just so many great brands. Corova was there, California Dab Company. Shout out to Morgan. She's awesome, man. She actually really wants to be on the podcast.
It'd be awesome.
Yeah, she reached out to Jonathan for that, and I was like, oh wow. So I went up to her, and I'm really looking forward to having her on here. But yeah, so like I said, it was just an amazing event. Big announcement that's going on I actually am diving into the legal cannabis industry in the workplace. I actually just got a new job. I'm not gonna disclose who I'm working for or what I'm doing, but I will say that it is on the legal side, and I'm very, very, very happy because this is a great brand. They're in multiple states. They're fully legal, and this is just proof. This is exactly what socials is. We want to prove that cannabis can provide livable wages, and it can inform and educate. I want to let people know that this is a real industry and people can live through this industry, and I'm doing it. So let's.
Dude, that's incredible. Congrats, man.
It's wild. I'm so thankful, but I'm thankful also to all the people who have supported us, anybody who has followed us or watched our videos. You know, when I go to events, I'm getting a lot of feedback and I'm getting a lot of rapport from people who have watched, from our viewers. So thank you for that, and continue to give me constructive criticism in any way. I really appreciate that. And so that way we can make this podcast more organic, or whatever way that they want.
Yeah, I mean, or if you just see us, just say what's up.
Yeah,
right?
We're very approachable. I feel like we're pretty like friendly guys. You know, just come up to us, say what's up. Tell us if I don't recognize you, I'm sorry. Just let me know where, and then I'm sure I'll recollect the conversation. But yeah, man, like I said, that new job is gonna be fun. But now we'll transition to the legislation update. What's been going on? I really, like I said, I haven't been catching up, but this is sort of our chance to figure out what's been going on recently as far as legislation. But what do you got for me, Robert?
Well, if you follow our Instagram, I'm not talking to you, talking to everybody else. If you follow our Instagram, you'll see a little while ago, maybe a couple days ago, we posted about in New York, there are a bunch of convictions, low-level marijuana, cannabis convictions that are being erased. I can't think of
expunged.
Expunged.
There
Thank you. Yeah, so 10,000, and then that was originally put out by the New York Times, I want to say.
Okay.
And then reading through that article, it was like 10,000 and change, like 10,600 or something. And then there was like a possibility that another 12,000 would get their records expunged. Wow. And now I'm seeing that there's an update to that article, and it's 160,000 now.
Woo!
So I mean that's a big step. We commented on it, and we said, you know, like this is, you know, with that 10,000, with that, you know, up to like 22,000 or something like that. It's a good first step to, you know, hopefully trying to, you know, just make people's lives easier. Because once you get a conviction for something like that, then, you know, you're
in the system, and
you're having trouble, you know, with jobs and stuff like that. So if we can get those records expunged and whatnot, it's a good first step to hopefully, you know, kind of fixing the situation a little bit.
Exactly.
But now there's 160,000 people. I just kind of skimmed the article. It seemed like it was pretty much the same, other than like the actual numbers. So it looked like when it was originally 10,000, looked like it was going to take like up to a year to get all that kind of sorted out.
Wow.
So I'm expecting it's probably going to be even more now.
Yeah.
Because it's like,
that's so many.
16 times that what they originally were reporting on.
Yeah. Let's hope it doesn't take 16 years though. Let's hope.
Yeah, they'll be way behind the times by then.
I know.
But you know, it's a good first step. I hope that, you know, it's setting a larger precedent, because I know that other states have had stuff, convictions and whatnot expunged.
Yeah, like Illinois. I remember that.
I was going to say Illinois, but New York, you know, I'd say California, New York, not necessarily on the cannabis forefront, but just in general, those states kind of lead. So if we see New York making that push, then hopefully other states are going to be following soon.
One of the crazy things about it being New York is I don't think New York legalized cannabis recreationally yet. I think it's only
there's
medically.
Still a violation. You can still get a violation and a fine.
Yeah. So that, but even for a state that has not legalized cannabis recreationally, for them to expunge records, that's still showing like a huge impact and a huge step in the right direction. You know, and that's something. I mean, California, I know that they're working on getting expunges. I don't know what the number is, but I hope that we can get somewhere up there, if not more, because I mean, I remember hearing something like 800,000 marijuana convictions go every year, even with it being legal in California and all these other states, still happening every year.
I mean, that sounds about right, because I remember reading in that article that it was like 800 and something thousand per year were being arrested. I don't know if it was convicted,
but arrested.
But yeah, like a crazy amount. And then of course it's you know, we're seeing a huge overrepresentation of people of color. and stuff like that. And so, you know, hopefully these are steps to fix that, right? Like, with
whether it's expunging the record or either supplying the social equity program where you create people who have previous records in cannabis or previous cannabis convictions or arrests on their record, they are eligible for licensing or a certain percentages up to, I think, 50% of a license. So that's one aspect as to how they kind of like almost resolve the war on drugs. But expungement would be, I feel like, would be a much better solution, or another solution in general. You know what I mean?
Because that's helping people, you know, that, I mean, think about like all the people that want licenses and whatnot. Those are, you know, more entrepreneurial types, more, you know, like that business savvy, more focused. But there's a lot of people that like, they just want to work. They just want to get a regular job. You know, like they don't, you know, and that's fine, right? But you know, their records are like keeping them from that, right? So the expungement, I think, is gonna help a lot more just like regular people out, right? That just like
the people who get arrested for having like cannabis in their car, or even just like walking down the street and getting, I know you can get
the stop and frisk, and
and then, you know what I mean? So that sort of makes sense as to why expungement would be a better alternative to those people, because then it's like, you know, for people who aren't in the cannabis industry, but just are cannabis consumers and happen to fall at the wrong place at the wrong time, the expungement would be a much better alternative than, you know, social equity and percentage in the license. Because if they're not that involved in licensing or in cannabis, why are they going to get involved? I totally understand that.
They're just recreational, casual consumer, right? Like most people, like most of us.
Exactly.
But, you know, if they just want to get a job, right? Like, so that'll be a big positive move, and hopefully, you know, that sets a good precedent that other states will be following and whatnot. So
hopefully other states also will learn from that, and we can get more states legalizing cannabis, both recreational or medically.
Decriminalizing.
At least, right? Or even descheduling on the federal level. Like somewhere help us out. There's so many different ways that cannabis can sort of like be destigmatized, decriminalized. Like in any way, we can put an end to the stigma, but we just got to take it one step at a time, one day at a time.
Yeah. And it's funny that you mentioned federally, you know, like descheduling it, because just popped up on the news. President Trump is donating part of his salary this quarter to fund a digital media campaign to bring attention to the risks of marijuana use.
What?
Yeah. So I just saw this headline that, you know, president's saying, he's putting it's dangerous.
So wait. So he's putting in part of his salary to make sure to advocate and bring awareness to the dangers of cannabis.
Yeah. So this was released by NPR. Surgeon General sounds alarm on risk of marijuana addiction and harm. So, and then that kind of ties into, they mentioned President Trump in there and donating part of his salary. For the quarter, the president gets $400,000 per year. So he's gotten $100,000 this quarter. It doesn't mention the percentage. It's just his salary for the quarter is $100,000. So potentially up to $100,000 to help fund this campaign, to bring attention the risks of marijuana use. There's a lot that's still unknown about the risks of marijuana, and federal officials say they support more local and federal research, which is positive. Right. I mean, research and understanding, education and whatnot, it's important.
Yeah.
Just the issue of like who's funding the research, right?
Exactly.
And like do they have a motive? Do they have an agenda?
Yeah.
Because we saw the research that was going on.
And that ties in with like objective versus subjective research. Like if you go in with that motive, it'll tend to be more subjective. Even if you make it polished and look objective, it doesn't necessarily mean it is.
Yeah. So that's hopefully will be positive with the local research.
Right.
And then you saw again on our Instagram, we posted about more research that's going on. I mean, globally even. That there's I forget now, I think it was in Taiwan. There's a university, the agricultural department put out a ganja
Cannabis.
What was it? A ganja degree, or a degree in ganja, right? Which is like
cannabis,
like the actual language that they use there.
Oh, really?
So yeah, because I saw like some people were commenting about it, like, oh, like ganja, like they just
Yeah,
are
because
trying
the
whatever.
lingo of in ganja of cannabis is like another word for cannabis is ganja, and
Yeah.
for those people who don't know that.
But
But
it's more slang on
right.
the Western side.
Mhm.
But in
Taiwan.
Taiwan,
Or is it Taiwan or Vietnam?
it's
No,
not,
I think
it's
it's
not
Taiwan.
Vietnam.
I think it's
it's
Taiwan.
Taiwan or Thailand. Oh shoot! I
Oh,
wish I knew.
oh dang.
Regardless,
Yeah.
whatever language that it was in, ganja is like the actual word. So
Oh,
instead of saying cannabis, like on the Western side, that's a little bit more of the research education. It's referred to as cannabis. There, the actual like terminology would be ganja.
So they offer like a degree program for in cannabis in a sense, or in ganja.
Yeah, so they said
Wow.
that they want to be like the biggest like research. They want to be on the forefront on the East,
Oh, I
right?
see.
So and then there's Harvard and MIT have gotten grants.
The University of Maryland now has a degree program for cannabis. You can
I
get
saw
a degree.
that. I saw that. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's popping up. Oxford University in the UK.
Wow. It's definitely popping up, and there still is Oaksterdam. Oaksterdam is in I believe Oakland. It's like it's a cannabis college, like it's an actual university for cannabis.
That's for like cultivation.
Yeah, they have horticulture, and they also have business, like a business course
okay.
or degree or certification.
Mhm.
You have completion. But yeah, I've
Okay.
thought about that. I thought about going into it on the business side, but I feel like we're going more of like the educational lifestyle route, because we're here to inform and educate the users, and then that's what we're doing. So that's why I didn't necessarily pursue that to like a full send,
Yeah.
But yeah.
I just looked it up, and it's a Thai university.
There we
so
go.
that's from Thailand, not
There we
Taiwan.
go. I'm glad we cleared the air on that one. We were both confused there.
Yeah, check out the thing we posted on Instagram. Goes into a little bit of detail about research that's going on there. But backtracking a little bit, going back to what the Surgeon General said, and that Trump's putting his money into
The campaign of the dangers of
it.
cannabis.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the exact quote here, but
I feel like the way I think of it is, or what I think on this matter is, cannabis. There's a lot of misinformation with cannabis, and even us ourselves. I'm still to this day misinformed on certain topics in cannabis.
Mm-hmm.
So to the statement of dangers of cannabis, I will say that I do feel like there are some dangers in cannabis, not necessarily in the plant of cannabis, but in the industry of cannabis. What I'm saying is, I'm talking about the black market vapes that are out right now.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are potentially dangerous for you. I just saw an article on Leafly that said 7 people were hospitalized in California. That was posted in August 26th. That was about 4 days ago.
Mm.
So, or no, yeah, the 26th. So that was 4 days ago. And like I said, that's the real danger. Like cannabis can't necessarily kill you, but synthetic cannabis or synthetic marijuana or these pesticides that are implemented into the cannabis along with the vapes that are in the concentrate, that can potentially be dangerous for you. And I will agree to that aspect, but
It's all the extra stuff.
yes. And like I said, I don't know necessarily what the president knows or what information they are being fed, but they can, if they are just solely breaking down the dangers of cannabis and they're talking about the addiction versus dependency debate, that's something that I feel like that might be an argument. But anything else regarding cannabis, I don't necessarily find it as a danger, other than, like I said, the black market vape pens that can potentially, the pesticides in that can put you in a hospital. So please be aware of that. When regarding vape pens, please buy legal, and please ask for the lab results, because it's important to understand as a consumer, when you go to the grocery store, typically if you're not sure of the product, what do? You check what's in it. So if you're not sure of the product, do what you would normally do in other aspects and check the product, review the company, and be transparent with what you're consuming. It's important to be a conscious consumer. So please, let's do our due diligence as cannabis consumers and advocates to let them know that as well. So
Yeah. And so I'm looking through the NPR article right now that talked about what the Surgeon General said, and that President Trump's putting his own money into this digital campaign. And so the quote from Surgeon General Jerome Adams was, quote, "While the perceived harm of marijuana is decreasing, the scary truth is that the actual potential for harm is increasing," end quote. Another quote that he had was, quote, "This ain't your mother's marijuana," end quote. And he's talking about specifically the THC concentration, how it's gone up so much. Even they have a report from the Surgeon General saying that THC content has increased threefold from 1995 to 2014. So,
which is a true statement. I will say that is true. That research is accurate. I mean, even Netflix has done a documentary on it, on the increases in potency on cannabis. I don't remember exactly what documentary it was, but they do mention that. And another thing is, I feel like with that statement, the cannabis industry has adjusted to that. What I'm trying to say is, now when you go to cannabis events, I'll bring an example of one brand that I know is Old Pal. Old Pal's, they have a shop in Long Beach. Their cannabis is not necessarily high potency. Like, they say that they specialize in a strategic range or restricted range of THC percentage. Why? Because of the potency rise. So what they do is they cater to the people who don't have the tolerance and don't want such a high potent cannabis flower or whatever the case may be, cannabis product. So they suffice to another brand. So I feel like I understand what their concern is on that aspect, but I do also know that the cannabis industry is adjusting and accommodating to that statement and to the recent rise in tolerance in potency.
Yeah, and I saw that in an article, a different article on Forbes, actually talking about like luxury marijuana products that have a low THC amount. Whether it's specifically, they're talking about edibles, like 5 milligrams, 10 milligrams. And then that also have a significant amount of CBD, which kind of negates some of the effects of THC. So, yeah, I think it's just a matter of people will still get high. They'll still use it. But now, if you're smoking, you have to smoke as much, right? And I think that you're inhaling any kind of smoke for your lungs, it's like probably not the best thing, right? So if you're getting that THC faster and you're still getting the same high, but smoking less, I think that overall it's a win.
Yeah.
Right?
Because you're saving money on the flour that you're spending, and then you're also like, your tolerance isn't building as high, so you don't have to consume as much. So yeah, it's definitely like a win-win situation. And I also feel like with the stigma part of it, tying to like advocating the dangers of it, it's tied to the people. Everyone thinks like, oh, people just want to get high to get high. That's still like a statement out there that's the stigma part that is still lingering. But the more we show that there are more functioning people in society who are consuming as well, but they find their balance, that is how you truly, those are the ones who have adjusted to this tolerance, to the potency rise. Because every consumer, everyone in the industry who consumes has adjusted to what's going on. Right. Either they consume more or they consume less, or some don't consume at all. That a lot of that has happened definitely because the potency, sometimes they have a bad effect or bad trip on a high potent edible. I mean, why do you think that the legal market limited their dosage to 100 milligrams? So they have to there has to be a cap. I mean, alcohol has a cap on their stuff. Everybody has a limit. So, but at the end of the day, there's an audience to every market. So if we didn't have high potencies, we wouldn't have designer weed like Cookies, Alien Labs, really strong stuff. So some days, like let's say today, I go home and I'm like, hey, you know what? I want like a really high potent cannabis flower. I know which brands I'm gonna go. But then if I don't, I already know which brands I also want to go because I inform myself. I go to you be present. You go to the events. So to the people who are out there, if you have any questions, just let us know. We'll let you know about the events, and we can inform you on what the best brands are and what areas you're looking for. So,
well, even going beyond brands, but just going to your local dispensary, and they have all the concentrations there because it should be lab tested, and then you can know, like, okay, I don't need 30% THC. Right. I'm looking for something lower. Talk to a bud tender. They can recommend stuff. Oh, this is gonna affect you this way. This might affect you that way. If you start to get a good gauge of like what range that you're looking for with THC and CBD. Yeah. You can get a much better idea of like going in and just saying like, this is something that I'm aiming for. And then they can hook you up with like recommendations and whatnot. Yeah. And so it's another important aspect of legalization. Yeah. It's just there's more information out there instead of you just go to your guy. Yeah. And he's like, this is what I got this time. Yeah. So
a lot of times also, I think another way to ask yourself before you ask the bud tender is like, there are two things: the THC percentage and then also the terpene profiles. So what I'm getting to is like for THC percentage, I always ask myself, how strong do I want the flower or product to be? That's more of like the dosage or the potency. How potent do I want it? And then the terpene profile ties into how do I want it to make me feel? Because the terpenes, the aroma effects depend on each. Like limonene is a citrusy effect. It ties in with energetic, uplifting effects, and it also brings awareness, or it improves awareness. Some people say focusedness, but I say awareness because it keeps me aware that I have distractions and I put them aside, and that's how I focus. But to each his own on how you view it. But like I said, like back to the person going into, if you're a new consumer, go into your dispensary, and if you're not sure how each flower makes you feel or each strain, ask about the terpene profiles, ask your bud tender, because they should be knowledgeable in that as well. And if they're not knowledgeable, if you're a bud tender, like ask people, ask your manager, reach out to us and we can inform you, or we can point you to someone who knows the right answer. So it's important that we just continue to spread information.
Yeah, because that's the key, right? I mean, we said at the beginning of the podcast, education, information, that's how we normalize, right? And that's how we hopefully remove stigmas and, overall just like gain acceptance.
Yeah.
Right. And, I mean, the majority of people, I don't think really care.
Yeah.
Whether like if you do that or not, as long as like you're not doing it while you're driving.
Exactly.
Or you're not, just like baked
as long
out
as
of your
you're
mind,
safe.
like like at work or stuff like that, right? If you get off work or it's on the weekend or whatever, like just enjoy yourself, right? Like
exactly. And if you're not doing anything, if you're gonna watch a movie, I mean, you're already there at home. Why? They're not doing anything wrong. You're not doing anything illegal. You're on private property. It's perfectly fine. But yeah, I think this was a great episode, man. I really feel like we went in depth with these articles, and we got some really great content and some really organic conversation out of this, man. It was great to catch up with you, and I really appreciate, having you on. And we got to continue to have each other and keep pushing each other to get into more events and getting our reach out there. But I really appreciate, you being on here with me. And, it's kind of funny to have me on this side because I'm normally on that side. So it's like, it's funny. That's like the host side, I guess. I don't know. But I wanted you to sit on that, and I wanted to feel this side, and I like it. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, switch it up a little bit.
Yeah. If anyone wants to know how these seats feel, come hit me up, DM me, email. We'll get you on here in no time.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Next, before we round out, I just want to let you guys know next couple events we'll be going to. We have Dante's Place on September 15th. We have the Koala Puffs hike on. It's actually tomorrow, on Sunday the 1st, so I think by the audio it'll already be done. But we're gonna get lots of content. You'll see the stories and check that out. And then after that, we also have Summertime Sesh on September 8th. We also have Chiefin' with Chelsea. Her birthday party event is gonna be in LA. That's the 21st. So anybody have any questions on attending, please DM us and we'll send you the information. But yeah, other than that, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Gabe.
I'm Rob.
And see you next time.